Ambassador, in lead up to the COP16 in Cancun, there were some negotiations that took place in China, and you recently just returned back. Can you give us an update of those negotiations and what you foresee as what could take place in Cancun, the COP16, and what the public needs to know and mobilize around?
Well, in COP16, we should all work in order to have an agreement of all 192 countries, where developed countries reduce their emissions in order to stabilize the increase in the temperature to well below 1.5 and the closest possible to only an increase of 1 degree Celsius during this century. The key issue for this scenario is the role of the United States, because as I have seen in the negotiations, the other developed countries are waiting to see what is the U.S. going to do. Many express that if the U.S. is not going to do a substantive emission reduction, then why they should do it? Because they are going to lose competitiveness with the United States. So what is on the table from the U.S. at this moment? The U.S. has made a proposal to reduce only 3% of their greenhouse gas emissions, taking into account the levels of 1990, by the year 2020. And I must remind that in the first commitment period of the Kyoto Protocol that is going to finish 2012, the commitment of developed countries was already 5% of reductions taking into account the levels of 1990. So the proposal of the US is to do less than what all the rest had agreed to do until the year 2012, but now the US is proposing to do that up to 2020. So this is a problem, and we need to change this. And if the US really comes with a proposal that is more realistic with the serious problem of climate change, I'm sure we are going to have a success in Cancun. But I am very afraid that if the US keeps this proposal, then we will see that other countries will say, well, I'm going to do the same, and then we will come out of Cancun with a very weak agreement from developed countries, and that the temperature will increase to 3 to 4 degrees Celsius. I must say that actually the different pledges from developed countries that are on the table are a reduction something between 30% to 17% of CO2 taking into account the levels of 1990. And if this happens, the temperature will really increase to 4 degrees Celsius, and the consequences of that will be absolutely terrible for life and humankind. So that is why it's very important to engage civil society in this issue. Only civil society around the world can put in first place life, the issue of emission reductions to save the planet, instead of the interests of some business sector that prefer to postpone the solution because they are thinking more in their profits than thinking in the life and the consequences for millions of people around the world that are suffering right now the consequences of climate change.
Thank you.